In this lesson, we'll have a look at how to edit the existing keyframes. So let's first go and solo the car layer, so that's all we're seeing. And I'm going to collapse this second layer as well, so I don't see the keyframes from it. And I'm just going to go to the beginning somewhere here with my playhead. And then I'll use the plus key on the keyboard to zoom in. And similarly, you can use minus to zoom out. So I'm going to use plus a couple of times so I can see both of these keyframes like that. The distance between the keyframes controls the speed of the animation. What that means is this. If the current animation is going at this speed, but I want it to happen much faster, all I would need to do would be to bring the keyframes closer to each other, and that will speed up the animation. And you do that by getting your selection tool, and then clicking on the keyframe, let's say the second keyframe in this case, and then pushing this towards left to bring it closer to the first one. You'll see the same animation will happen much faster now. And I can exaggerate this even more. And if I play it, you'll see that's happening even faster. So the shorter the distance between the keyframes, the faster the animation. And of course, to slow this down, all you would need to do would be to separate the keyframes. If I click on the second one, maybe push this away from the first one, and I can zoom out a bit more by using minus on the keyboard. And then I can keep pushing this towards right. So I now gave it more time to complete the same animation, which means it will have to go slower than it did before. And this actually makes sense. Think about it. If I told you that you only have 10 minutes to go from your house to the supermarket, you have to drive your car at a certain speed. But if I told you that you only have a minute to go, then you have to drive much faster. Or if I told you that you have half an hour to go, you'll go much slower. So the distance between your house and the supermarket stays the same. But if I give you more time, you'll go slower. If I give you less time, you'll have to go much faster. That's exactly what's happening with the keyframes here. The longer the duration between the keyframes, the slower the animation. The shorter the duration between the keyframes, the faster the animation. And let's do the same for the clock as well. So I'm going to go and unsolo this so I can see all the steps together with the clock. And here's a really useful shortcut. If I want to reveal the keyframes I created on any of these layers, and in this case, I only have the keyframes for the second layer, and I can actually see that I made a typo here. So I'm going to select this, press return, and then add an and there. And then click outside. If I want to see the keyframes now on the second layer, I select the layer, and on the keyboard, I press the letter U. And this is going to reveal the keyframes you created. U stands for user keyframes. So this is such a useful shortcut that I use this pretty much every single time. Every time you press the letter U, that will reveal the keyframes you created. And if I press U again, that will hide them. So not always will you remember the keyframes you created. So if you select the layer and press U, that will reveal the keyframes. Same here as well. And if you select and press U again, that will hide them. So what I want to do now is to line up the two animations so that the second hand here rotates at the same time as the car moves from left to right. So if I click and drag this towards right, you see nothing happens. It doesn't recognize the keyframe or the playhead here. For us to tell it to snap, all we had to do is to hold down the shift key as we drag, and you see as soon as we get closer to it, it snaps. So if I move my cursor left and right, it doesn't go, or it snaps to the playhead as well, or to the keyframe. In this case, I want it to snap to the keyframe, so I let go there. And now if I go back and play, so if I press the home key on the keyboard, and then spacebar, you see the two animations will happen exactly at the same time. And of course, if you want to speed this up now, I can select both of these keyframes by creating a marquee selection like this. And then I pull them left. And now the same animation is going to happen much faster. And this is how you tweak the speed of any animation.